The AME Church had its beginnings with the Methodist Church, and then in 1815, Richard Allen and others walked out of St. George's Church in Philadelphia and started the AME Church. However, there were many African Methodist churches throughout the colonies, mostly on the eastern seaboard, northeast. But that was the beginning of the African Methodist Episcopal Church that was born not out of doctrinal disagreements, but out of social realities and issues that black people, or Africans as they were called back then, had to face. They had to come together, and they basically wanted their own vine and fig tree in which they could worship freely under. Bethel Setauket was one of those churches that were organized before 1815 when the African Methodist Church formally started. But they were a body of worshipers, and they worshiped here in Setauket. They interacted with the Native Americans who were in the community, and they originally were closer down the street towards Stony Brook. And they had a small church, a small one-room church in which they worshiped. And even before that, you hear stories of people worshiping beside the riverside. I'm going to lay down my burden down by the riverside. That's what they did. They went and they worshiped Almighty God, sometimes out in the woods and nature, and then they had their first church closer to Stony Brook. And now today, the church that we're a part of, the building that we have, was built, started in 1874. The land was purchased. It was built. And then in 1910, it had a fire in which the church was destroyed, but the people were not. And they rebuilt the church. They had a determination to rebuild, and they rebuilt it with cinder blocks, stones that would last forever. And they have lasted to this day. And through the generosity and kindness of our neighbors, we've been able to expand the church in the community to bear witness to God's goodness and grace. The people who lived over on Chicken Hill, they were the church. They came and they worshiped here. This was a place where they could feel good about themselves, and they could worship in the style that they could express their joy and their sadness and whatever other emotions they may have been experiencing. But this was an important place for them because it was here in God's house that they felt good about themselves and that knew that they were somebody, no matter what society would say. In God's house, they were God's children. The church was very important, and our connection to the Native American community was so important. It was like two communities coming together to mutually support one another. And that's what happened. I imagine in the early days, Africans, as they were called, really blended in with the Native American population. And it was just a natural thing that here at Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church, there's a strong flavor and a definite presence of Native Americans among us. When you say Chicken Hill, I think of the many families, seniors who are seniors today, who used to live over there. Some were, forced to move further south on Long Island toward Coram and those at Gordon Heights. But some were fortunate enough to stay in the community, and they had fond memories. It was not easy. Many outdoor bathrooms and things of that nature. But home was home, a place where they could feel secure and comfortable. So Chicken Hill was a very memorable place. And I don't have a lot of the stories, but a lot of the seniors do have memories of that time. One of the things in my 18 years that I've pastored here in Bethel Setauket is I found this to be a place of a beloved community. We have different churches of different denominations. different doctrines and whatnot, but we come together through the three village clergy, and we come together as neighbors. And there is a beloved community that must be enhanced and encouraged, because we come together as people, as citizens of this nation and people of this community, and worshipers of Almighty God. So Bethel bears witness in this community that there's a stronger thing called love that unites all people together. Thank you.